Hello folks, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Shirley Folks and I'm going to attempt to master this technology and show you how to make a clootie dumpling, which is a boiled fruit pudding boiled in a cloth, a cloot, which is where it gets its name, and it's very much a traditional staple around the whole of Scotland. Here in the northeast, folk tend to have a clootie dumpling for their birthday rather than a cake. But everybody has their own clootie dumpling recipes. The one that I'm using today is Anne Reid, my late sister Anne's recipe, written in her own hand. I still have it, and you'll notice she's there in the picture at the background, just keeping an eye on me to see that I get this right. So you start, your basic recipe is flour, breadcrumbs, sugar, suet. You can use vegetarian suet if you want, and salt and spices. I use an apple, treacle syrup, some eggs and milk to bind. And so here goes, we'll get it together. So in my bowl I've got 2 cups of plain flour. If you can get it just now, you'll be doing well. And a cup of breadcrumbs. Best to have your breadcrumbs a wee bitty stale. They'll grate you can grate them, or I do them in the blender, but whatever. But best if they're a wee bitty stale. So they'll go in there. A cup of suet. As I say, can be vegetarian if you prefer. Some people use march but Anne's recipe always use suet, so I shall use the suet. There's your cup of suet going in, and I have 3/4 a cup of sugar, and that goes. Everything just gets thrown in and mixed. So, and then you come to your fruit, a cup of sultanas, it's a cup of each of these things, a cup of raisins, and a cup of currants. I'll put your bag, I can get my thing in. Okay, so that's all the fruit in, and I have, on this wee plate here, I have a pinch of salt, I have half a teaspoon of ground cloves, a whole teaspoon of ginger and cinnamon, and a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. So that will all go in there. Pinch of salt. I've got a grated apple here, which I grated earlier, and I've stuck some lemon juice in it, but that won't affect the flavour. Just any kind of apple, a cooker, an eater, whatever you've got. Don't need to peel it, just grate it, and it goes. And then a tablespoon of syrup. I've got golden syrup here, a squeezy bottle, which is much easier than taking it out of the tin. Well, it would be if I could open it. That's it. So you're needing a tablespoon of that. Never comes out, and a tablespoon of treacle, black treacle. Lovely stuff. And then that'll go. I have, you may hear, hottering away on the stove. The equipment you'll need is your cloth, as I've said, and a pan of water, which you boil your dumpling in. Okay. So that's everything in. So, and then I've got 2 eggs, which are just slightly beaten in they go. And that's your lot, except maybe some milk. Just we'll see how the consistency goes. So there you've got your ingredients. Your hands are actually the best thing to mix this, but I'll use a spoon since I'm being nice. But really your hands, get your hands in and get a good kern. A kern means a good mix for those who are not from my part of the world. So those are your ingredients, and fairly well mixed up. As I say, your hands are the better job because it gets it mixed through. See that your flour's well mixed in. You really don't want dry bits of flour which will show up white. Need muscles for this job. And that's about it. And I shall scrape that off with my trusty spoonula gadget that I wouldn't be without. And then I've got milk. So you're just going to add milk until you've kind of got a soft drop-in kind of consistency. Don't want it to be too wet, but it needs to be. Just add your milk a wee bit at a time. If you add too, you can add more. If you add too much, you've had it. Now I'm going to turn on a kettle, so you'll get a bit of kettle noise for a second. For the cloth. And a bit of more milk yet. I've still got some dry flour in the bottom of this bowl, so that's, as I say, what you don't want. It's coming now. Maybe a wee ticky more milk. Some people make my dumpling guru would make a dumpling about this size, so she would make it in one of these huge cauldron pots. But this is a fair enough size of a dumpling. You can increase the recipe as much as you like, if you like dumpling. Most folk do. Now that's looking pretty, it's not just dropping off my spoon yet, so maybe a ticky more milk just to, but that's looking pretty good for consistency. I say you need muscles for this job. Okay. There's your mix, all mixed up and looking awful fine. And smelling, I can tell you, gorgeous. Smell even better. Okay, so that's the mixture made. I'll just clear my feet a wee bit, clear my hands so that I have, because you need a bit of space for this bit. Because then the clute is going to come into action. Now, any cloth will do, but really you need I use a cloth which is smooth, because you really don't want one of these webby kind of material cloths which will leave a pattern on your dumpling. These cloths were, I got engaged in 1976, I think, and these kind of things were all the rage then, these twee kids. It was probably the most useless present I've ever been given if you want to use it to dry dishes, because it wouldn't dry a thing. But it's probably the most used present I've ever had, because it's brilliant for layering your scones on to cool, and brilliant for a clootie dumpling. I have 3 of them, and brilliant for if you're damping doing fine knitting, because it doesn't leave any marks. So all the things that I use my useless cloth for. So my kettle is boiled, and this is the crucial bit. You've got to scald your cloth first. Need asbestos hands for this one. So your cloth needs to be scalded. Just use a spoon to fish it out, because my hands are near that asbestos. And get the excess moisture off it. Lay it out on your table, flat. And then this is what forms, and this is the hit or miss bit. Sorry about that, I lost you for a minute, folks. Right, I've got my cloth, I've scalded it and wrung out the worst of the water out of it. And then the essential bit, and the bit that's quite difficult with a clootie dumpling, is to get the skin. You want a skin round your dumpling, but not too thick a skin. So I'm using a flour shaker. Just cover your cloth in flour. You can pour it on if you like, but this is fine. It's kind of essential to get it even. And the best one that I find to do this is you can put on too much if you like, because you want the whole, the cloth that's going to be in touch with the dumpling well covered. Oh, my pot's beginning to hotter a bit. So that's my cloth. Now I've got quite a lot of flour on there, and I'm going to disappear for a while, because what I usually do is take it outside, get a shake around, get rid of the excess. Here we go. There's me back. My cloth has been kind of shaken off, so it's got an even coating, but not too thick. If you get it too thick, it'll go kind of gloopy. And then onto the cloth goes your mixture. Just drop it on. It smells absolutely gorgeous. It will taste gorgeous, I'm sure. Scoop off the rest of this. It's a wonderful gadget because it really cleans a bowl, and I heard somebody recently nickname it a bairn's fun spoiler, because you get so much out of the bowl that there's nothing much left for the bairns to lick. But there you've got your dumpling mix. Quite a moist mix. Might be a bit too wet, but we'll see. Okay, so there you've got it, and you want to drop the sides of your cloth, gather up your cloth together, and you need to leave room for your dumpling to swell, otherwise it'll burst out. And make sure you gather all the edges. If you've got a square cloth, it's actually better, because you want a fine round shape. Something that kind of, you know, you want your dumpling to come out looking like a fine round dumpling. Next you need a bit of string, which I have here. a bit of string and tie it round. Again, as I say, leaving some space for your dumpling to swell. I have a running knot in it, a slip knot in this, so that should... No, some of my corners escaping, so it's no use. Otherwise you'll find your dumpling all through the pot. Okay, it's essential you get this bit right, or you know, you'll end up with a disaster in your hands. And this is going to take about 4 hours to boil. So I will come back to you once it's boiled, and okay, just about got it in, of one corner escaping. So for a second a pair of hands comes in useful. But I've only one pair, so okay. So that's your dumpling, well tied up. It's got space at the top to expand. I think I'm going to have problems here because I think I might have just put a drop of too much milk in, but we'll see. We'll see. And then it's going to go into the pot. Now I've got my pot prepared. Kettle's just boiled, so I'll top it up. You'll need a big pot big enough to take your dumpling. And I've got in the bottom of this pot a plate, which is a handy thing just in case, you know, it stops your dumpling sticking to the bottom of the pot, if you, just in case it might be tempted so to do. And so you need your water well up the pot, and you need to keep it, as I say, it's got to boil for 4 hours, so you need to keep it topped up. Just keep a check on it and always top it up with boiling water. I'm just going to pop this in the pot. You can leave it. Now, there it is. It's well covered in water, and on it goes. And as I say, I'm going to boil that for 4 hours. I'll keep a check on it, keep topping it up with boiling water, and with any luck, in 4 hours time, I'll be back to show you the finished thing. So, hello folks, here I am again. The dumpling has now had its boiling time, and I've taken it out to the pot. There it is in its clute. Shape might be a bit questionable, but we'll see. So I've taken it out, it's rested for 10 minutes. Just to let it cool down a bit, snip the string, and this is the tested bit. This is when you've got to pull your cloth down very gently off in the hope that you've left a skin. So I'm just peeling back the cloth just to get it sorted out a bitty. That's a bitty, and hopefully it'll be. And this is where you've got to work really quite slowly and gently in the hope that you do not disturb the skin. Too much. A wee odd picky or hole might be acceptable, but it smells absolutely gorgeous. Just come in too gently. You don't want to pull too fast, just in case you... The cloth, by the way, will be a test for the washing machine, but it'll come off fine. If you can see, it's coming, kind of coming off down. Not just the perfect round shape that I would aim for a show, but we'll come on. Patience, this is where you need patience. Oh, hang on. But he's there, it's wanting to break away, but it's underneath, so it'll be... You try to go too fast, then you will take off the skin with you. A slow job this. What I shall do now is I shall upend it onto my other plate. Hopefully without dropping a whole lot. Okay, there goes. And get rid of that one. And if I keep just gradually easing the cloth, at the moment this skin looks a bit grey because it's still moist and hot, warm, but it will, hold it there. Picky there. Just keep gradually easing it up. Coming away reasonably clean. Once it's sat for a while, the skin will darken up and dry out. Patience is a virtue. The cloth, believe it or not, will live to fight another day. It looks a bit of a sauter at the moment. A wee bit of a ring in the top, but there she goes. There she goes. We'll get rid of that, dump it in, and dump it in, and there's our dumpling. There's our dumpling. As I say, leave it to cool. The skin will harden up and firm up, and you can either eat this hot or cold, and you can have it with cream, ice cream, For me it would be custard every time. I love custard, and I think dumplings best with custard. And once it's cool, you can slice it up and serve it just in finger slices with a cup of tea, which is lovely, absolutely beautiful. And the other thing that people sometimes do with their dumpling is cut it into slices and fry it. If you have a Scottish breakfast, a full Scottish breakfast, you may get a slice of fruit pudding fried with your breakfast. I'm not too partial to that, but some people love it. So there you are, a dumpling, a clouty dumpling. Thank you.